Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Caldwell County Department of Social Services meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 23rd. We're here in the Out and East Orange building, and it's just a little after 5 o'clock. And we'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance, and followed by our invocation given to us today by Associate Pastor Tim Barker from Meadowbrook Baptist Church. Please face the flag, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for every seat that has been filled here. Thank you for each mind and heart that feels the presence of this room. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish this evening. Father, everyone has ideas, they have visions, they have hints and daily instruction. They have talents, abilities, and time's work. However, only you can see the perfect detail, the end of every beginning, every project, every season, every life. Lord, nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Your righteousness exceeds all our efforts and understanding. Strengthen our confidence in who you have made us to be. Set us free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. Lord, I ask that you bless this meeting today, all those who are present, as well as the lives of those that they will encounter afterward. Ready us to make every moment count. For it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. All right, is there any amendments to the agenda? Kim, any amendments to the agenda? So I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. All right. Number 6 on the agenda is announcements. We're going to, Miss Kim Arnett's going to talk to us about the retirement of C.V. Morris, our child support supervisor. And we just got him, ain't been too awful long ago.
I know.
And now he's decided to retire on us.
He has. I've tried everything I can to talk him into staying, but I think he's committed
got his
to
mind made
retirement.
up, ain't he?
I think he has. So I'll just say briefly that CV is going to be retiring next month, and so is Teresa Spears. And so I want to wait until they join us next month for the recognition to talk a little bit more about their contribution to our agency, how long they've worked there, and hopefully maybe talk a little bit about what their plans are after retirement. So we will be seeing those leave us in the next month.
Okay, so both of them will be with us until the end of November.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Next on the agenda is going to be recognitions. Ms. Tina Green, retirement. Kim Arnett.
So Tina was not able to join us tonight, and so we're sad about that. Tina's always very lively, and we always enjoy having her around. She has been with the agency since '93. She started March of '93. She left for just a little while and came back to us and has been with us ever since. I think that was around 2004. Tina is, she is just such a lively, outgoing, social person. She always boosts the morale of anyone she's around. Always smiling, always cheerful. Her office is just decorated also very cheerfully. I think people in Medicaid are especially going to miss her expertise. They're also going to miss her hump day and Friday calls that she is notorious for doing. I think we heard our last one just right before we left to come here. So we are certainly going to miss her, but I know she is going to enjoy her grandchildren and camping with her husband. I think that's what she's got planned to do for the foreseeable future.
Well, she should have retired in the spring. It's gonna be cold, too cold to camp.
I know.
You couldn't keep her for another few months?
We tried. Every day I saw her, I kept
understand.
asking, are you sure this is what you want to do? And
You need a reminder that when you want to go camping, you have to retire in the spring, not in the winter.
she does have a camper with a heater. So,
Oh, okay, all
yeah.
right. So she's glamping. She ain't really camping.
True.
She glamping. Yeah, that's my kind of camping right
Yeah,
there.
mine too.
Yeah. Well, we will miss Tina, and are we gonna have an opportunity to see her? Will she be,
She was going to be able to be with us tonight, but she couldn't.
okay.
So,
Well, we
but we
wanna,
did get to see her today in her Michael Myers / Jason Halloween costume. So she, I don't think she won, did she? She didn't win the costume contest, but
well, please take our appreciation back to her and her service to the county, and, it's always a bittersweet time when you have long tenured employees leave. You're excited about them because they have an opportunity to retire, and that's what you work all your life for. But at the same time, we end up as an agency losing a wealth of knowledge that you just won't. I mean, I ain't gonna say you're never gonna replace, but it's gonna take us 30 years to replace it. So we are very appreciative to Tina and all the contributions she's made to our agency and to the citizens of our county.
we are going to miss her.
All right, next is going to be reports. We'll start out with the introduction of new program administrator, Ms. Kim Arnett.
So I'll just have Laura. She's going to be introducing, I think, our next one maybe. So Laura Harrison, you guys, I don't know if you know, but she took our program manager position and then immediately almost took the program administrator position in child welfare. And so Laura's been with us with a brief stint in another county since about 2011. I think Laura and I started on the first day together here in Caldwell. Laura has a wealth of knowledge in child welfare. She has worked from assessments, investigations, some foster care. She's supervised both. So we're very fortunate to have her fill in the role of program administrator.
That's great.
You got 20 years in you?
Yes, she has. We're gonna make sure.
You didn't even hesitate.
Sorry.
You didn't even think
doesn't
a lot.
have 20 years.
Misunderstood what you were asking me. I'm so sorry.
No, you didn't misunderstand. You heard me right. You heard me 20 more years.
Yes.
Yeah.
She can do it. Have all the faith in the world.
All right,
20
all
years
right.
and counting.
So now we will turn it over to Laura to introduce the new economic services director.
Well, we'll
Or
introduce the
program
child welfare
administrator.
supervisor.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
that's okay. Kelly Taylor. She, you get to come up here.
We'll put you on the spot up here.
This is like going to a Baptist church. You got to sit on the front row. Yeah.
So Kelly is taking over my job as a supervisor before I took the program manager job. And Kelly's been with the agency for over 20 years. This is the only agency she's worked at in CPS, or child welfare. And so she has a wealth of knowledge. She's done investigations and CPS in-home services and provided services for those at-risk families. Probably majority of the time.
Yeah, almost all of it.
So we're excited to have her step up and be the supervisor, and she's going to do great.
The question is, are you excited?
Yeah.
I am so far. It's only been a month. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she's going to do great.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations to you too, Laura.
Thank you.
All right. What's next on here?
We're going to have Elizabeth, who's going to introduce our economic services.
There we go.
supervisors.
So Carrie Williamson, we actually have 3 new Medicaid supervisors. One is on her way, but she got hung up doing an application with a client. So she will
Duty
be
calls.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one had some prior commitments. So Jennifer Ansley is not able to be with us, but Carrie Williamson has been with the agency for about 7.5 years, and she has taken the adult Medicaid supervisor position that I was in prior to me taking my new role as program manager. She has worked in all facets of adult Medicaid. She's done any part of it that you could possibly have. So she has jumped right in. She started, it was effective 9/1, and she has done really well so far. She's transitioning, learning her duties as well as maintaining some of the cases that she had done previously until the new staff are trained up. So I don't know if you want to say anything.
I'm just in it.
You in it to win it?
We're glad.
Just in it.
In it to win it, yeah. Fantastic.
And then we have Dawn Williams. And Dawn is our new Family and Children's Medicaid supervisor for our Medicaid expansion team. So she starts.
That's a long title.
I'm telling you what,
She starts tomorrow. effectively,
Fantastic.
And she's very excited. I'm very excited. Dawn has a lot of knowledge in family and children's. Any kind of policy you want to know, she's going to spit it out at you.
That's what we need in this.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I know that she's a quick learner, and I'm really excited to see what she can do for our agency. She's been in family and children's for about 4.5 years, so.
fantastic. Well, congratulations to you both.
Apologize, I actually got caught up doing a new application.
That's what she said. I said duty calls, yeah.
Yeah, I had a guy that needed help with the energy assistance, family and children's, and food and nutrition, so I had to get him through with the family and children's.
That's no worry.
It was supposed to be a simple helping hands letter, then we got up there.
Oh,
and
it never is.
He said, I said, well, let's just go ahead and apply.
Yeah.
While you're
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
While you're here, just get it out of the way.
Let's just get it done. He said, do I come back on 12/1? I said, nope, let's do it today.
Good for you. There you go.
So,
Well, congratulations.
thank you guys.
Congratulations to all you ladies that got promoted. It's always good to see when you always have movement. It's always good, and it's always good when you have the talent to be able to promote within. So it's always great to see that.
It is.
All right, next on the agenda is staff development. Crystal Henderson, supervisor, and Chastity Jones, supervisor.
So I'm just going to say a few words real quick. I asked Chastity and Crystal to come here today to talk about our hiring process that we've had over the past couple months. And as we go through tonight's agenda, you'll see the personnel report. We hired 19 positions in the past month.
Wow.
And so these two ladies have worked so hard. They're tired. Yes, they're tired.
Yeah.
But I wanted them to highlight some of the collaboration that they've had with one another because, you know, Crystal is in child welfare and Chastity is in economic services. And so you don't think that there would be an opportunity to really collaborate between those two programs when you're thinking about applicants. But we have found ways to do so, and it has been tremendously beneficial. And so I wanted them to talk about that a little bit and then just talk to you briefly about their training process. And I think Chastity was able to bring some of her staff development folks here just to introduce real briefly to you.
All right, so, you know, some of the best ideas come from mistakes. I mean, really, or just oversights on our
That's right.
parts. I mean, really.
That's right,
really.
yeah.
And that's really where you have opportunity for growth is when you mess something up. And so I won't say that we necessarily messed up, but historically, there's not been a lot of, you know, folks that are applying for child welfare typically have that 4-year degree. You know, Chastity's folks don't always have to have that. And so we just never really talked about who was applying for our positions until we had one of our processing assistants who had been there for a long time left the agency, and we were going through the process of trying to find a replacement for her. And I called a girl in to interview, and she comes in, and Chastity says, "Hey, Crystal, get ready to call her and offer her a position. We interviewed her a couple weeks ago." And so, you know, through that process, we started talking about, I know you're growing. Sorry, I was trying to get us both through. I said, you know, we know that Chastity's growing. She knows that we also have shortages. And what we found is that a lot of times folks were applying for economic services with 4-year degrees. And sometimes folks were applying that we were interviewing in some of our positions that we thought were great candidates, but we only had one position to fill. And so we really started talking and working together quite a bit and really sort of made this happen, I think.
Yeah, Crystal did a whole lot of interviews for the processing assistant, and that ended up being 3 people that we hired on the economic service side, just doing a follow-up phone interview for. So it really, the collaboration is really good, and we've learned how to kind of work together, and it seems to help our process, especially as busy as we've been with the hiring process.
Chastity and I got the opportunity to go to some colleges and do job fairs and have more opportunities for outreach in the future. And so it's been a really good experience. I'm really happy to see this position become what it is, because there is a lot of disconnect between economic services and child welfare. And we actually are, you know, we had the issue a couple months ago where we had to go to the library and work that day. And we had new staff starting that day. So we worked together that day for orientation purposes, and now we're deciding when we have folks starting on the same day, we're gonna do it together all the time now.
That's great.
Just
Yeah.
to kind of have that, you know, you know that face, that person started when you did, so hopefully that's a long-term relationship that they'll have.
Well, I think that's all great, because I think as we move forward, we're already starting to see a shortage in a lot of work in the workforce. There's, a lot of people want to blame the youth. They say the youth don't want to work. Well, that's not completely true. I'm not going to say there's maybe some of that, but the problem is there's more jobs than there are people to do them, because people don't realize that over the years, the birth rate has changed. Back 25, 30 years ago, people were having 4 or 5 kids. Now they're having maybe 2 if they have any. So I think it's interesting as you're starting to see that and doing the outreach is going to be important as well. We can't wait for them to come to us.
Right.
We're going to have to go get them. We talk about this all the time where I work on my full-time job, and we talk about it at the county level, because times are different. So we got to think outside the box. This is exactly what you did, is thinking outside the box, and it's been successful for you. So congratulations on finding that and creating that and developing that, because I think that's going to be a big win as we go down the road.
Yeah, no, I definitely think so too. And some of our, collaboration and what we were talking about as well is we've actually learned as an agency that we love hiring people right out of school.
Yeah.
They have a lot to offer. They're very energized. Sometimes those folks that are right out of school, they're still ready to learn. We've had some great experiences hiring folks that are just fresh out of school, and just being mindful not to overlook that population either,
Right.
just because they don't have the experience. So.
Yeah, and again, I think it's something that we're going to be challenged with as we go forward. And one of the things that we talked about a lot is just recruitment and retention. It's going to be important. You got to work hard to get them, but then we got to work hard to keep them. So that's a lot of that has to do with morale, and obviously pay and benefits are important. And we've recently changed our benefit package. Everybody's aware of that. We'll continue to work on salaries as we continue to move forward. But I tell you, morale is a big part of it. Enjoying who you work with and enjoying where you work is it's got a lot of value to it. I think we forget about that sometimes, but I think there's a lot of value in that, and that people people enjoy, if they enjoy who they work for, they enjoy where they work, they're more apt to stay. They're not going to be as easy to pull away.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you, and thank you for
Thank you. Thank you
for
guys.
developing that.
I want to mention my team. I've got a couple of my team members
Absolutely.
here. And they're Connie Hendricks. She is a trainer for our food nutrition services. And we've had quite a bit of hiring in that area also. I think right now we have five or six that's in training. So, and she's responsible for, the training part as well as their second party completions to make sure they're on the right track. So, she's a big part of our staff development team. And our trainers are so important to keep the morale going. They have to be positive in order for the people to remain positive, especially during the learning process, because
right.
it is a time-consuming thing. And then I have Kelly Whitsitt. She is one of the trainers for Family and Children's Medicaid. And Kelly has been with the agency for many years also, but Kelly always has a very positive, perky attitude, very fast moving down the hall kind of situation. But she is going to be part of a 3-person team that is going to help train our expansion group. We are going to have 6 new employees as of tomorrow. We still have 1 more expansion to hire for, and then we have 2 other vacancies in Family and Children's Medicaid alone. So that team is really going to have to work really hard the next
So
few
6
months.
people start tomorrow?
Yes, for expansion, for Dawn
Wow.
Williams' team.
For Medicaid
Yes.
expansion, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's for the expansion team.
We tried really hard to get our expansion positions filled.
And we have one left for the
One left.
expansion, so.
That's good.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Because that kicks off December the 1st, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Some
that's
parts
good.
of it have already started, but it actually goes into effect December 1st.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha.
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic, ladies. Thank you. All right, we're going to get an update on the hybrid remote work pilot from Brandy Hood, Economic Services Program Administrator, and Elizabeth Franklin, Economic Services Program Manager.
Good evening, everyone.
We're gonna have to make y'all some acronyms.
No, just call us the duo.
Yeah.
So we're currently 6 weeks into our hybrid remote work pilot, and we currently have 6 staff that are working from home, and they're doing it hybridly. So we rotate. Some do weeks in office and weeks at home. We kind of do different schedules depending on the needs of the team. We have had to work out a few kinks here and there. We had 8 originally, and one got a promotion for our Medicaid expansion trainer. So, and then one decided it just wasn't for her. She wanted to be back in office, and it was
enough.
fine. It's actually helped a lot with making office space for our Medicaid expansion staff, and we've been able to get all that kind of set up and worked with IT on getting all that done. With it just being 6 weeks in and us still kind of working out everything, we're hoping by next board meeting, we can give you guys some production numbers and kind of see how the supervisors are keeping track of that monthly. So we'll hope to have some numbers to present to you guys next month, a little bit more of a detailed report to present to you guys. But as of right now, it's going okay.
You're satisfied with where you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did
for
you
the most
give
part.
them did you just say who's interested?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and not many people were. We thought that
I
we would
would've
have a
thought
huge.
That's what I would have
Yeah.
thought. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
We have a lot of new staff that have expressed interest.
Okay.
But they, of course, have to go through training and all of that and be a little more prepared.
Well, from somebody who has worked remotely for 23 years, everybody can't do it.
Yep.
And we learned that where I work, that, and I can, kudos to the lady or person who said, hey, this ain't for me, because
Yeah.
it's not for some people. They need that office environment and having, coworkers they can talk to and things like that. So, it's got to be for the right person. And as time goes on, that may change. You may see some people have some more interest in it too, so.
Yeah.
Part of her, reasoning for wanting to come back in office was she didn't want to hinder the pilot or the continuance of the pilot
Yeah.
for, anybody else that was wanting to do it. So
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah, kudos to her, yeah.
for
Absolutely.
taking that.
But as long as you're happy with where we are today, we're 6 weeks in, it's still too early to
Yeah.
really get too much of a judge, but as long as you're happy with where we are, that's good,
Yeah, I'm hoping to seeing some progress along the way. Be able to present that to you guys next month.
Fantastic. All right. Anybody got any questions for the group before we move into the next part of our agenda, our monthly updates? Because, the most important part and the most exciting part of the evening is yet to be presented to us, and it will be now with Mr. Chris Conley. We'll get our financial report, and I know everybody's been waiting on that, so it's here.
Thank you for that
Chris, thank
rousing
you.
introduction.
The floor is yours, my friend.
I appreciate that. I will buy you another cheeseburger one
You
day.
got it.
Our monthly financial report for the benefit of our newest board member. I was not here last month and didn't really have, well, obviously, I didn't have an opportunity to give Mr. Sadler any type of explanation on it, but the top half of the report is just our reimbursements, along with our end-of-the-month receivables and expenses for the month of September. That first column of reimbursements totaled $830,132. We ended the month with accounts receivables of about $1,168,000. Expenses for the month totaled $1,181,181. So underneath that section, you see the difference between expenses and revenues, which is our county dollar utilized for the month of $351,051. The lower portion of the report is a year-to-date comparison to prior year at the same point in the year. And at this point in the year, our expenses are down about $3,000. Our revenues are down about $73,000. Therefore, our county dollar through September is up almost $70,000 compared to last year, which honestly in our budget, I mean, that's a small dollar amount. We would like to be lower than last year, but that's probably not conceivable simply with, ongoing salary increases with merit raises and things like that happening during the year. So that's the gist of our report. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Anybody got any questions? I got one for Mr. Souther's benefit. What is our annual budget? He may not know that. Roughly.
Total expenses about 16 million, with revenues of about 10.5 million. The difference is our county dollar, which is actually about 5.8 million for this year. So obviously those first two numbers are not exact, but I think our county dollar in this year's budget is about 5.8.
And that typically, the county budget usually runs about the same. It don't change much other than salaries. When you do see
Right,
increases in the
yeah. I
salary
mean,
side.
since 2019, our county dollar it's increased mainly because of salary increases in the past 4.5, almost 5 years.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, Chris, thank you. It's always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is a director's report. Ms. Kim Arnett, Director.
So I will start out with our personnel report. As you can see on with your board packet, we've had some positions that have become vacated over the last month. But what I want to point out with these positions are 3 of those are for retirements. And so while, like Donnie said, we hate to see those folks leave with that historical knowledge, we certainly appreciate their time that they've spent at the county and are happy for them to continue on their next adventure. 2 of those are for promotions within the agency, and 1 is for a lateral move within the agency. So we have one position that was resigned, and so I felt like that was just important to point out to everyone. Also, with our new hires, again, I just want to highlight that we hired 19 new folks since our last board meeting, and our staff development folks have just been working so hard and so collaboratively, and it's just been very beneficial. As you heard, we have 1 expansion position left to fill. So, we were hoping we would get all of them filled by November 1st, but we have 1 left. And so if we can get that position filled, hopefully have them start mid-month in November, we can get a couple weeks of training under their belt, but for the rest of those positions, we'll have a full month of training before Medicaid expansion goes live. And so we'll take that. We're pretty happy about that.
Absolutely.
So I also want to say we have been pretty busy in food and nutrition. I know we talked last month about some of the incentives that we're offering our staff who are having to work overtime. We were going to stop that at the end of October, but I think we've talked and we're going to try to leave that going through November so that they can get a little more caught up. We've seen some progress, but we would like to see some more before we end that. So our plan is to end that at the end of November. I think they were very appreciative of those incentives and have taken advantage of it, so we've been pleased with that. I did have our folks in Child Protective Services and Adult Protective Services look up statistics. I know, Donnie, last month you asked what region or what area of the county are we seeing the highest reporting. And so what we did is we took a 6-month span, and we went through every report that we've received in 6 months. And so we had our Adult Protective Services do that, and we had our intake in Child Protective Services do that. And so we broke it down as much as we could, and by looking at addresses, because it was tough to really break it down too minutely. So we broke it down, and it looked like 60 to 70% of our Child Protective Services reports are coming from the Lenoir area, which includes Valmead, Lower Creek, and Oak Hill. So that's our Lenoir addresses. Next is 18 to 30% in Granite Falls, and then 8 to 16% Hudson. And so that's kind of the way it goes. And there's some other areas that are pretty low percentage. So that was in Child Protective Services, but our Adult Protective Services mirror that. And so coming in at around 41% was the Lenore area for our adults. Then Dudley Shoals Gamewell came in at 12%, and then Dudley Shoals Granite came in at 8%. So those were our highest numbers.
Was there any surprises in there to you guys?
Not for me, there wasn't. I don't know if Laura, if you felt like that was a surprise for you. I don't think that was a surprise for our adult services.
So the highest in child welfare was basically Lenore, which includes Lenore, City Lenore,
And then Valmy, Lower Creek, and Oak Hill.
Valmy, Lower Creek, and Oak Hill. Okay.
And so did those numbers match what we see kind of in like our population density numbers?
That was my next question. Yep.
That's a good question, and I can go back and check that. We did not look at that, but I would imagine it probably does.
Well,
Sort
you
of makes
wouldn't,
sense.
it wouldn't,
Yeah, it would
Oak
make
Hill
sense.
probably wouldn't, because that's gonna be more rural.
But that would be combined with.
But it's combined
yeah.
for
I was
Lenore.
combining
Right.
that.
So
Yeah,
we
that's true.
combined that with Lenore City, Valmead, and Lower Creek.
Which really might be the reason that it's higher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just more.
just because of the
it's more-
population. Well, I think in my mind, I think that's good data to know, because I think it helps us to understand where we begin if we start looking at, educational
outreach.
type stuff and outreach. That's where we look at. And I'd be interesting to see, what other factors follows that same, pattern. Is there anything else inside of DSS or any other agencies in the county that might follow that same trend?
Yeah.
And my guess is it probably will, just because of the
Population,
the density of it. So,
probably so. But I thought that was interesting, and you would like to hear that
yep.
feedback. I sent everyone the memo about our Senate Bill 625, so I hope that all of that, I hope I explained that well enough for you. We do have some pretty significant concerns about that bill. I know that we've talked with our Directors Association, and I know Mr. Sudreth has talked with Dr. Lowry at the hospital, and the Healthcare Association has gotten involved, and so they're also not supporting some of the changes in the Senate Bill 625, and so they're, of course, a great advocate for us. And so right now, it looks like that bill is stagnant and will be for some time. So we're hoping that we have some more opportunity to express our concerns and recommendations as a Directors Association before anything is put up for a vote.
Yeah, it's absolutely a bad bill, and if people don't understand it, be glad to talk to you offline about it. It's not a very good bill. It's just going to put more burden not only on us but the rest of the state. And it's something that we have to make sure we don't take our eye off of, because if we ain't careful, it'll ease through and we won't even know it happened. So I do know, I have confirmed that there has been no movement. It's just sitting there. There's been no conversation in the House. So I'm not, we just need to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
So I've been assured it's probably not going to move until spring, early summer, but we still need to keep an eye on it.
Right. There are some significant changes to statute in that bill that, quite frankly, I think puts children at risk. And so
Absolutely, I agree
we
with you.
definitely want to keep our eye on that. I just want to give you an update on some of the things that I've been doing with our staff. I know the first month that I was in this position, I met with all of the economic services teams. For this past month, I have been meeting with our admin team and having individual conferences with our admin team. And the next November, starting tomorrow, my plan is to have meetings with each individual child welfare and adult services team, just to sit down and have some conversation, get to know some of those folks that I may not have gotten a chance to know in child welfare because maybe they've just been hired as I've transitioned, and also for those folks that have been around a while, just to have some conversation. So that'll be my plan coming up in November.
Fantastic. Anything else?
And that's all I have.
All right, anybody got any questions? All right, next on the agenda is going to be Child Services and Adult Highlights, Laura Harrison, and Child Welfare Program Administrator, CWPA.
Okay, that's great. So
In the month of September, our child welfare intake, they had 196 calls, emails, just requests come through to them. We had 79 reports that were screened in to be assessed, and we had 39 assists that came through. Other counties, sometimes even other states, may request us to go out and check on something. In-home services, we had 16 cases, families that were being served for the month of September, as well as non-assists from other counties throughout the state. In foster care, we have or had 147 children in our custody for the month of September, and 12 young adults in the foster care 18 to 21 program. We had no adoptions were finalized in September, and we had 21 licensed foster homes, and then 5 relatives that were licensed in September. I don't know if you remember or not from last month, but we were supposed to have a new tool roll out actually yesterday. It was supposed to have rolled out before, and the state stopped and pushed the implementation date back to yesterday, and well, it was delayed again. And so it's been delayed. We don't have a new date, so we're still kind of working on that. There's been some changes to policy that we're trying to muddle through. We received some guidance from the state today, just some changes in policy that we're not able to fully implement with the current tool that we use. And so just some guidance on how to do that. I will just piggyback on what Kim said about the data points that she talked about earlier. With that new tool, there is a way to track that data better. You can do like regions within the county. We can set that up. So if that tool ever does roll out, it'll be a lot easier for us to keep that data going. Because right now it was a little harder to get that data. So we'll just say that. For adult services, for September, we had 57 adults who we are guardians of. And then there were 26 reports that were screened in. And a highlight for them, I will just say, is they were able to help a family reunite with one of their family members that was homeless, and really advocate and help that family become guardians of that family, the family member that was homeless. And so that was something they were very proud. They worked really hard on that, and were able to, and we'll continue to support them with services and making sure that that individual gets what they need and help. And the family's not just, stopped receiving our support. We'll continue to support them as well.
How did the paths cross between us and the homeless?
So I believe that we got a report, is my understanding, and they were able to, instead of us having to step in and become guardians, they were able to locate that family and really help support them and reunite them.
And that's something that we try to do anytime we have an adult who lacks capacity and can't take care of their needs, or they don't have anyone around them who immediately we know that they can serve as guardian for these adults. Recently we'll get reports from, let's say, the prison system that maybe someone's getting ready to be released who has significant mental health issues where they cannot make their own decisions. And so what we will do at that point is then start to search for family members. And because it's just like children, it's always better if people are, with family or cared for by family. So that is
Absolutely.
really that's our number one goal. And so we actually were able to do that today. We were able to have someone appointed guardian of an individual who, if we couldn't have done that, would have come into our guardianship. So it's not always easy because, a lot of folks who are without a home or who have some of these major mental health conditions, sometimes their family, they've been ostracized from their family, or they've just lost connection, or maybe they've moved far away, and so it's not always easy to find those supports, but we do work really hard to do that. I will also point out that our numbers in child welfare and adult services all have gone up in the past month.
Yes.
Our numbers of children in custody are rising. Our numbers of adults in our guardianship, that has risen. Our intake numbers rose significantly. Our assessments were up. And so things have just been very busy over the last month, which is typical for this time of year.
Yeah, it is. Is there a way that on this report, could you do that, like 1 month back and current, so that Because sometimes to look at the 196, unless you say that number is up or
don't
down
remember.
from where we were,
Yeah, that's a good,
we may
that's a good
not
idea.
remember where that looks like.
And we might could do maybe 3 months, and so that you can see
Look
a
at the quarter.
comparison. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good suggestion.
Yeah.
You guys are aware that Western Piedmont Council of Government has got some, I don't know if they're social workers or exactly what they're calling them, that's helping the homeless population. I don't know if y'all have connected with them or not yet, but they are, I think if they're not up and running, they're getting really close to be up and running with that, so there'll
Yeah,
be a good,
I think they are.
Okay, I
I
knew they
think
were
that they've
close.
got the supervisor and multiple of the case managers. I
Case
think-
managers, that's right,
Yeah,
that's
they
what
have
they're
one
calling
position left open, and
yeah.
we have them scheduled to come and speak to our staff, kind of about what they're offering and those sorts of things. I can get you contact
Okay, great.
information so that you can reach out to
Okay,
them.
thank you.
That'd be very helpful, thank you.
All right,
Thank
anybody got
you.
any questions? Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
All right, next is going to be Family Support Services highlights, Miss Brandy Hood, the Economic Services Program Administrator.
Hello again.
Hello again.
So just to give you some highlights from our economic service area, for this past month, the month of September, the county provided Medicaid services to 26,495 individuals, and that included 430 new applications throughout the month. Our food and nutrition services provided benefits to 12,894 individuals, and that is 6,817 households, totaling $2,020,452. And that's completing 247 new applications throughout the month. Our customer service staff assisted 3,002 clients at our front desk. Our switchboard handled 4,298 phone calls throughout the month. Child care services provided child care to 539 children throughout this month. And our emergency assistance handled 200 telephone calls and completed 186 applications with 261 requests. And that totaled $44,548.67. And I'll just highlight what the request is. Sometimes, depending on what they come in for, there may be a program that we are not able to help them with, so we have to do referrals at that point, maybe to Yokefella or another partner. Child support collected $967 and 48 cents with 2,683 active cases. So October was our customer service appreciation month. So a lot of people in the agency teams done different things for our customer service staff. We like to recognize them during this month because they do help in all of our areas of the agency. They see or do something with every person that we serve throughout our county. So we, the administration team provided lunch to them, and different teams provided gift baskets and snacks and little whatnots throughout the month just to show their appreciation, and they was definitely appreciated.
I just want to say something real quick. When I was meeting with the economic services teams, Mary Patterson was the supervisor, was talking to me, and she asked me, she said, "What do you see as being important about customer service?" And I thought it was a really good question, because sometimes you don't think about what all customer service has to do. They are the literal face of our agency. And it will make or break how someone feels about your agency depending on how they are treated when they walk through those doors.
That's very true, with any organization or
Yes.
business.
And so, it's so important that they feel appreciated and supported, and that comes across in the way they treat our clients and our customers. And also to think about how much of a broad spectrum of knowledge that they have to have, because they have to be able to say, okay, you need this, you need to talk to this person. Or you need this, let me help you, and let me help you fill this out, or let me help you refer you to this community resource. And so it really, I don't know that people think about how much they really have to know and how important their role is within our agency. And so we are very thankful for the customer service staff that we have.
Yeah, I think you make a great point, Kim. Customer service is that's where it all begins. I mean, I don't care what kind of company, what kind of business. public, private, that's where it all begins. I mean,
sure.
you know, and I think it's important that we acknowledge those folks just like you did, and because, you know, we talk about emergency services, the 911 telecommunicators, right? They're always the person that's sort of behind the scenes. Nobody ever really sees them.
Right.
Same thing with customer service, but they're the most important. They're the ones who gets the wheel turning, you know? So I think it's important that anytime we can, we do that. So thank you guys for acknowledging those folks, because they are the face of your agency and our agency, so.
I just want to mention, just to piggyback on what Kim said about the food and nutrition protocol that we had put in place. I've heard some feedback from a lot of the staff, and they have been extremely grateful. They have said that it has helped tremendously, give them some relief with the busy workload. So we're looking forward to continuing that one more month, just to try to get those numbers up some more, the percentages up a little bit more. But it has been extremely helpful. Last, I want to talk just a little bit about Medicaid expansion. So the state has provided trainings.
Are you sure you want to talk about that?
Not really, but.
I mean,
So the state has provided us training dates, so supervisor and staff are setting in on those trainings and gathering up lots of questions to send back. The policy's very clear, but sometimes when the state does presentations like this, causes some red flags, and then questions start coming everywhere.
Well, there's policy and then there's interpretation of
Yes,
policy.
That's
yes. So
Very true.
the supervisors and staff have been gathering their questions, and our program manager has been all day, every day, sending questions to our state rep just to try to get some clarification so we can be prepared as of 12/1. She actually sent out some information that the state provided us in a toolkit to some of our community partners. I think she sent it to you guys and Fry, Helping Hands, the Health Department, Senior Center, different places in the area to try to get that word out as well. I know we had talked about that last month, so I wanted to give an update on that.
fantastic.
Any questions?
Anybody got any questions? For Randy, all right.
Thank you.
Tracy, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah. You sent us an email, either late last week or I think it was, regarding the couple or the family who adopted the child. Could you tell us a little about that? Because I don't want to make sure our staff knows that people are paying attention.
I will, what I know, and I
Yeah.
know that they likely will be on the report for next month, because that'll be a completed adoption next month.
Correct.
But Angela West is a friend of mine that I have worked with previously, and she was just very excited that they are at the place now where their little boy is theirs, and they were able to complete their adoption. And she posted a multitude of pictures of the process and them being in court with the judge and signing the papers, and they're just really excited. It's taken a while for that process to happen, but you know, when you're able to create a family through adoption, it really makes a difference. So,
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, they spoke highly of our agency and the
They
way,
did.
the process, and
Yes.
even though it was long, they
Yeah,
spoke
she
highly
said
of our
that she
agency.
wanted to send kudos to all of the workers that helped in that process, that really walked with them through that entire journey.
And I wanted you to tell that story for a specific reason, is because I know there's somebody who's watching tonight on television who may be thinking about adopting a child, and you hear all these horror stories about Department of Social Services, right? And, you know, I think there's a misconception there that it is a long process. It's a long process whether you do it privately or through the county. So I encourage anybody that's out there tonight that's listening to, pick up the telephone and call us. I mean, we're always here. If you're interested in adopting a child, there's plenty of babies, there's plenty of young adults, teenagers. We need you to reach out, and if you're interested, we will be more than happy to help you through that process. And I wanted you to tell that story because it's not a bad experience, as some people will make you think it is, but it's not a bad experience.
And if you're interested in fostering, maybe you can't adopt, maybe that's not exactly what your goal is, but if you want to foster, and maybe just for short term, then certainly reach out.
Absolutely.
We can definitely use foster
Absolutely. I
parents
think
as well.
more people watch this channel than we think they do. You know, when they're watching us, there's more people I get comments all the time about, saw you on television, really like what y'all are talking about. And so you'd be surprised at how many people watch our television channel. So make sure that we want to utilize it as much as possible. So thank you, guys. Anybody got any questions before we go to the next item? And our next board meeting will be on Tuesday, November 28th, here in the Alden H. Starnes building at 5 o'clock. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. We are adjourned.